In this video, we're going to talk about how to create a specific type of picture or graph that we need in order to be able to start to conduct some inferences or hypothesis tests using our lines of best fit and the information we've been talking about so far. So, one of the things that we're going to need to be able to construct is what we refer to as a normal probability plot of residuals. Now, the details for how I create this particular this picture are listed here in this box. And I'm not going to go ahead and read that box to you. I'll leave that for you to do, but I'll show you down here in example number 4 how I can create this picture and what exactly I'm looking for. So notice what number 4 says. I want to create a normal probability plot of the residuals for the car data. And once I have that, I'm curious if I can safely assume that the residuals of all car data form a normal distribution. So remember that the goal here in creating a normal probability plot, which is something that we actually did back when we talked about normal distributions, is that we want to see if a sample is likely to have come from a normal population. In order to be able to conduct a hypothesis test, we need to be able to safely assume that the residuals associated with our picture come from a normal distribution. So, there are a couple things here that are really important in order to be able to get the calculator to understand what residuals we are currently using. Now, I'm going to go ahead here and go back to my calculator and note very quickly that in the last video we took a look at list number 3 and list number 4, freshmen entering university and number of freshmen entering freshman level math courses. And it's important to recognize that right now our calculator is under the assumption that we are thinking about and specifically working with these lists. And the reason that the calculator thinks that is because these were the most recent lists that we did a lin-reg t-test with. So if we want the calculator to update and use lists number 1 and number 2, the very first thing we're going to have to do is to rerun that test. We don't actually care about anything that comes out of this particular test in terms of what numbers it will show us, but we do care about the fact that the calculator is aware that these are the lists that we're using. So right away, I don't care about any of those numbers, but now the calculator knows that that's the list that I'm using. So to create this normal probability plot of residuals, you'll see here that I'm going to go ahead and do the following. I'm going to go underneath my first plot, and I kind of already have set up here the things that I need to select. Underneath type, I want to go to this very last option. And underneath my data list, I want to have resid. Now, you may not know how to get resid on your calculator, but it's actually surprisingly easy to do. Once you've gone ahead and run that lin-reg t-test, the calculator will create this list and save it somewhere. To access that, you're going to click on second and then the stat button. When you do this, you'll get a list of all the different lists that your calculator has. Now yours might be shorter or longer than mine, but somewhere in there you should see an option for resid. And once you have that, you can click enter, and now the calculator is ready to go. If I hit zoom in the number 9, I can see my picture. And I'm just hoping that this is roughly linear. And it seems like it is. So if I was to go ahead and try to draw this picture on my paper to provide evidence that I was actually able to construct it, then I could just do something kind of like this. Again, I'm just trying to provide a rough image of what that previous picture looked like. It was something kind of like that. And so I can definitely say that we can safely assume the residuals for all cars form a normal distribution. And again, the reason that we can say that is because this is roughly in the shape of a straight line. Okay. So this is how we ultimately create one of these normal probability plots. In the next video, we'll take a look at how we compute or how we actually sketch a picture of what we refer to as a residual plot.